Welcome back to the Abstract Sifter set of videos. Today I'm going to talk about the landscape sheet. Here I am on the main sheet where I usually enter a query, and I'm going to switch actually over to the landscape sheet, which is this tab right here. My landscape sheet I just cleaned off. In other words, I deleted everything from, oops, I could clean a little bit better actually, from E onward, and I deleted the rows by selecting rows and deleting. You can do the same on yours. So I'm going to do my usual fipronil query here. I'm put fipronil in column C, where it says chemical entity query. And then over here on row 3, I'm going to put some other query clause. I'm going to put fleas, and then I put ticks here, dogs, cats. And I like having headings, so I'm going to put these just like that. Okay. So what happens here, what you do next then is you select the cells that you want the query count results to go in. So I'm going to select these 4 cells, and I'm going to click on Update Article Counts. And what happens here is that a query is built from whatever the value is in column C to what the value is in row 3, and that query is then sent to PubMed, and the counts are sent back and placed in the cells. So this query, fipronil and fleas, was sent to PubMed. The number of records that satisfy that query is 122. And I always like to colorize it to make it prettier. So you can see here, just as overview, there are more articles about fipronil and ticks than there are fipronil and fleas, and there are more articles about dogs and cats. So, okay, really interesting. Huh? So, that's the basic functionality of the landscape sheet, but there are lots of ways to make things fancier and more complex. Also, this is also a front end. So if you double click here and you say submit, it will get all the 175 articles here and put them on the main sheet. So it is an entry point to main sheet viewing as well. So let's do something more complex. Let's say we're interested in other animals like sheep, llamas, let's say camel and pig. And I can go get those results. And of course, then I can also click and go get the actual citations sent to the main sheet. You could also add on to row 3, or column C rather. So let's get rid of this. And let's say I'm interested today in diseases. So I've got actually a list right here of certain types of diseases. I'm going to go ahead and just select some of them. And I'm going to paste them here on column C. And those become then the first part of my query. And maybe I don't want the animals anymore. I want drug therapy, let's say. I'm looking for articles here about prevention. Okay, so what I can do, and I'm not going to do too many of these because it's going to take too long. I'm just going to select these cells and say update article count. So now I can get the results for each one of these diseases and the number of articles about drug therapy and the number of articles that have the word prevention on. In other words, the number of articles that satisfy the queries built by a combination of whatever in column C with the values in row 3. I'm going to cancel this so you don't have to wait for it. And let's look at the ones that I did get. I'm going to heat map it by column. So these are the results for those 2 queries, and I can keep on adding concepts here or making these more complex. I can also go to a sheet called sample queries. Here I've already built some queries for you. These are simply starting points, and if you use them, you can excuse me, you can build on them any way you want to. And I'm going to look at male reproduction and send those to landscape. Now I have here in row 3, I have some really complex queries about, in this case, female reproduction, male reproduction, and I can select these cells, click on update article counts, and the queries then will be formed with the diseases plus the other clause here about female reproduction or male reproduction. So then I can see maybe get some insight into how these diseases affect these particular bodily functions. The other things, let's talk about infants. So now we're getting the numbers of the articles that have this disease, plus a term about infants, neonates, babies, etc. And again, these numbers represent the returned articles from these queries. Okay, that's all for the basics on the landscape sheet. To get more advanced functionality, tune in for a later video. Thank you. Goodbye.